It's going to be the first one of its kind in BC, one of the few in Canada, and I think it's the first one on First Nation land in the country.
Tonight, a First Nation in central BC is building a huge cannabis facility, and they hope profits can help their community.
I kind of wanted to break that gap between Aboriginals and First Nation policing.
We meet a young woman from Alberta that wants to join the RCMP to help her community.
Tommy Prince is the person that needs to be on there that represents the best ideals of bravery, of contribution, and sacrifice.
And there's a growing movement to have a celebrated war hero as the face of the $5 bill. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. A Cree woman from a small community in Manitoba was the victim of a violent robbery in Winnipeg earlier this month. Dina Gott was approached at gunpoint and then shot while walking in the city's West End. Gott is now recovering, but the experience has wounded her emotionally. APTN's Brittany Hobson has her story and a warning: some of the images in this piece are disturbing.
Dina Gott was only supposed to be in the city for one night, but a violent robbery and attack changed that. On June 18th, Gott was staying at her brother's in the West End when she went for a walk around 11:30 at night. She says a man approached her and asked for directions.
And I was already on my Google map and I said, "I'll help you." And he grabbed my phone and quickly took out his gun and said, "If you try to take this back from me, I'll shoot you." I said, please, no, give me my phone. And he shot me.
Gott was shot in the neck. The man ran off. That's when the 35-year-old was able to get help.
I made it to my brother's door and I just fell, I couldn't even lay down. I sat there and I said, "I've been shot." My brother ran to me and he held me, and right away he stopped the bleeding, squeezing me.
Gott was transported to hospital where she woke up a day and a half later. The bullet entered through her neck and miraculously went straight through and exited out of her back. She spent a week recovering. She was unable to talk or eat for several days. But it's the emotional impacts that will stay with her.
I had to force myself to I'm okay, I'm gonna make it. But in the back of my head, this thing bothers me. And over as time progresses, I realize now it's PTSD.
Gott is in touch with Winnipeg police investigators, but says they have not been able to identify the shooter. She worries everything from the shooting to her interaction with officers on the scene reinforces a negative stereotype.
There's that stigma there that Native women are nothing and that they work the streets, and that's not true. The cops are continually asking me, were you drinking? Were you doing drugs? Were you on your way to do drugs? Questions like that.
Gott is out of hospital and recovering before heading back to her home community, Chemawawan Cree Nation. The mother of 4 is leaning on family during this time. And despite the traumatic experience, she is ready to move on.
I decided I'm not gonna let this faze me, I'm gonna use this to make myself better.
Winnipeg police told APTN they have not made any arrests, but will be releasing more information at a later date. Gott described the alleged shooter as a shorter Caucasian male in his mid to late 20s with short blonde hair. He was wearing a black hoodie at the time. Brittany Hobson, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
With systemic racism and police brutality in the spotlight across North America, one Indigenous woman is working toward a career in policing to fill the gap between Indigenous people and the RCMP. Tamara Pimentel has the story out of Lethbridge, Alberta.
6th Avenue South to 5th Avenue
22-year-old Autumn Jerry is a team lead for the Lethbridge Watch. The team is eyes and ears for Lethbridge Police, EMS, and the fire department.
So we like to do our check-ins with everybody. They kind of have like their favorite hangout spots that we will just generally go and check in with them just to see if they need any assistance.
For Jerry, this is more than a job. It's a step toward her lifelong dream, becoming an RCMP officer in her home community of Siksika Nation.
You know, growing up on reserve, you hear a lot of bad about RCMP or any type of police officer or anybody in authority for, you know, and so I kind of wanted to break that gap between Aboriginals and First Nation policing.
It all started with her grandfather, Leonard Good Eagle, a retired Mountie.
You know, grew up, he was like, oh, we had, you know, retired police dogs that lived in his house, or he dealt with this on the reserve, and it was kind of more of that factor of like, ooh, that's so cool, I want to do that too. But being out here, it's a lot different, you know, knowing that you can change people's mindsets with just saying hello.
With recent events shining light on systemic racism and police brutality across the country, Jerry says Indigenous cops are needed now more than ever.
Everything's not going to be good, to say the least, but once you start kind of, you know, working with everybody, educating them, you know, when people make mistakes, you know, just making sure that they're educating themselves. That was kind of my main reason of why I wanted to join, was I didn't want, you know, Aboriginals to grow up in communities where they don't trust police officers. Can you mark me down for a public service location check at the public library, please?
Jerry finished her criminal justice policing diploma at the Lethbridge College. She says working with the Watch team has boosted her confidence in creating a positive relationship with the public, a skill she plans on using while policing in the future. Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Lethbridge.
We're always looking for your feedback. Here's how you can continue that conversation. Send your emails to news@aptn.ca. Find us online at aptnnews.ca and on youtube.com/aptnnews. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest Indigenous news. Across Canada, people have been protesting the symbolism of statues of past leaders and colonizers, and they want those statues gone. In Regina, 2 women have been doing their part to remove one of the country's most famous and most controversial leaders. APTN's Priscilla Wolf has that story.
This is Carrie Belgar Lupunachow. She's been here 14 days now at the John A. Macdonald statue at Victoria Park in Regina.
It's a peaceful sit-in, we call it. We invite the public to come and sit with us, and we have been here every day, and we have also approached the City Council. We've been there twice, and we have no response.
Star Andres has also been here every day with her to peacefully protest the statue of John A. Macdonald being on display.
We came out here to have John statue removed. We like it to remove for what he stands for. We don't want to destroy it. We just want it relocated maybe to the museum or to the ledge.
Andre says his statues across Canada are shameful, and they represent a man who started residential schools.
He wasn't a very nice man. He was our first prime minister, but he created the residential schools. Great Chapon had to carry a permit to walk on her own land. They made residential schools through priests and nuns, and those priests and nuns did bad things to the kids.
Balgardu Punachow says they cover the face of the statue because she was told by her chief that's what to do.
He told me to put that over his head because he should not be looking at us while we are trying to, you know, take him down. And across Canada, you know, like, none of them should be up because of what he stands for.
They plan to continue the peaceful sit-in until Canada Day, but after that, they will keep trying. They started an event page on Facebook called Dear John that outlines what John A. Macdonald stands for to Indigenous people in Canada. Priscilla Wolf, APTN National News, Regina.
Time for a quick break, but still to come, we'll take you to the groundbreaking of a BC First Nations cannabis facility. Here's a look at Tuesday's weather forecast starting on the East Coast. Showers and 25 for Halifax, 24 and rain in St. John's, 19 with showers for Nain, 29 in Cartwright, 27 and rain in Montreal, sunny skies, and 28 in Saguenay, 27 in Toronto, 29 in Sault Ste. Marie, 29 and sunny in Thunder Bay, showers and 29 in Sioux Lookout, plus 6 with rain for Churchill, 29 in God's Lake, 31 in Winnipeg, 33 for Princess Harbor and Barons River, 20 with showers in Regina, 19 in showers in Saskatoon, 21 in Meadow Lake, 26 in Stony Rapids. Welcome back. A First Nation in central British Columbia has started building a massive cannabis facility, and the Williams Lake First Nations project has the backing from the federal and provincial governments. APTN's Lee Wilson has more.
Williams Lake First Nation break ground on a farm facility. Sugarcane cannabis will be band-owned and built on reserve land. Construction of the project will create 30 local contracting jobs. The facility, which is expected to open next year, will create 20 jobs for the region and produce 600 kilograms of cannabis per year. According to Chief Willie Sellers, this is one of the first projects of its kind.
Seed to sale model, farm to gate is how they coin it. It's going to be the first one of its kind in BC, one of the few in Canada, and I think it's the first one on First Nation land in the country.
Through talks with the federal government, BC government, and Northern Development Initiative Trust, they secured a total of $750,000 for the project. Williams Lake Band sees cannabis business as an opportunity to build self-sufficiency. Their region has faced economic struggle the last few years, from a downturn in forestry, Mount Poly mine failure, and recently the pandemic. The farming facility will be built next to their cannabis retail shop, which has been operating for a year. The First Nation says the profits from that retail location have helped provide funding for 20 students who go to college or university this year.
A big chunk of them going to school is from own source revenue. And where did some of those dollars come from? From cannabis. So I think that's pretty neat. They didn't all come from cannabis. We pulled them from numerous budgets, but that's what we were able to do because of the things that we're creating in this region where an economy is taking some massive hits with.
Chief Willie Sellers credits having a strong council, which is helping their nation grow. They recently changed the name from Williams Lake Indian Band to Williams Lake First Nation. While construction is taking place in their farm-to-gate cultivation facility, they are also building a new band office. Their goal, to economically lift their nation as well as the region.
Giving them opportunity for good paying jobs right close to home where they're going to be able to not only provide their family, but also be home every single night. Continue to move along and do what we do. And I said it before, we're able to do that because of this amazing staff that we have here.
Lee Wilson, APTN National News, Williams Lake.
The Navajo Nation has been hit particularly hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now an Indigenous drum group with ties to southern Alberta is trying to help out. CTV's Tyler Barrow reports.
What a difference 16 months can make for the Young Spirit singers, seen here on the red carpet at the 2019 Grammys.
It's pretty neat to be recognized on that world stage for Indigenous music.
For a group hoping to make even more noise in 2020, it has been anything but. First canceling shows, then the virus really struck a chord close to home.
We have a member that's part of our group that resides in the Navajo Nation. He came down with the virus. His girlfriend came down with the virus. His stepchildren, his in-laws, his sister-in-law.
Navajo Nation is located in the four corners of the states: Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. It's been one of the country's hardest hit areas by COVID-19, at one point surpassing New York State for highest infection rate in the country.
These rural communities, they're like 2-3 hours away from hospitals, 2-3 hours away from any medical aid.
Jacob wanted to help. Singer by night, but during the day he operates his own sanitization and cleaning supply company. He saw an opportunity.
And that was getting PPE to the Navajo Nation.
It's been a team effort, but the group is running a T-shirt campaign.
For every shirt purchased with the Craig George painting, we're sending 5 medical-grade face masks to the Navajo Nation Department of Health.
The shirt features a drawing by Navajo painter Craig George. The painting is meant to communicate the urgency of the situation on the nation and is emblematic of the bonds Indigenous communities share throughout North America.
I felt like I was going to lose a brother.
Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Great effort and a good-looking shirt. The push is on to have the face of an Indigenous war hero on the $5 bill. That story and more still to come. Here's a look at the rest of your Tuesday forecast. 26 and sunny for Fort McMurray and Fort Chipewyan. Showers and 20 in Medicine Hat, 19 for Calgary. Rain and 21 in Vancouver, showers and 20 for Victoria. Rain and 20 for Fort Nelson, 22 and sunny in Smithers. 16 in Old Crow, 21 for Whitehorse. 20 in Yellowknife, 23 with showers for Trout Lake and Fort Liard. 9 with rain in Sax Harbor, 22 for Colville Lake, 14 in Paulatuck. 19 in Baker Lake and Whale Cove, showers and 11 for Repulse Bay. 6 in Pangertung, Clyde River and Resolute. Welcome back. The Bank of Canada is searching for a new historical figure to be shown on the $5 bill. As Daryl Stranger tells us, an online petition supporting war hero Tommy Prince to be the new face is gaining traction from MPs across the country to his own family.
Tommy Prince is the most decorated Canadian Indigenous soldier in history, and he could soon be the face of the new $5 bill, set to be released in the next few years. The Bank of Canada put out a call for nominees at the beginning of this year, and the MP that represents the riding where Prince once lived thought he would be a perfect fit.
Tommy Prince is the person that needs to be on there, that represents the best ideals of bravery, of contribution and sacrifice, as well as needing to tell a story about reconciliation and systemic racism. And he encapsulizes all of that in just his story.
From attending residential school to fighting in World War II and the Korean War and selling his war medals to help him survive, Prince's story is both inspiring and tragic. The Shadow Minister for Crown Indigenous Relations sees this as an opportunity to promote reconciliation.
The more momentum we get towards this, the better chance we have on getting Tommy Prince on the $5 bill. And I think if we can do that, I think that is another step we take to the path of reconciliation and recognize some of the mistakes of the past, such as residential schools, but also honoring Sergeant Tommy Prince in his career in the military and coming out as a war hero.
The petition had originated amongst Conservative MPs, and word soon got to the family. Tommy's grandson, Buddy, hopes Tommy's story and face on the new bill can be a symbol for equality.
As you know, he wasn't even allowed to vote. And this is one of the stronger things that I believe that he stood up for, was equal rights for all Indigenous people across the country and in the U.S., especially in this time of reconciliation. I think, going forward with the $5 bill and Tommy Prince's face representing that dollar bill, it's something that we all need to look at and say the impossible is no longer impossible.
Daryl Stranger, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
It's a pretty good-looking bill. Starting August 31st, concertgoers in the Ottawa area will have cause to celebrate. Bluesfest and the National Arts Centre are teaming up to bring a series of 4 concerts to Ottawa this summer that they're calling drive-in concerts. Performers will include the Sam Roberts Band and Algonquin bluesman Lal Ojig. They will take place on the sacred Algonquin Ziwi site. People will be able to drive in and watch concerts from their vehicle. Half of the acts will be Indigenous and Black artists. The National Arts Centre says Indigenous voices are important and always included in their programming. Heather Gibson is the NAC's executive producer of popular music and variety.
It just makes sense that if the National Arts Centre is going to be programming something, that Indigenous artists are involved. The program, I'm responsible for programming all of the music at the National Arts Centre except the orchestra. And we do, this is part of our programming all year long, that we ensure that we have Indigenous and Black and people of color. And of course, we also have a mandate with language, with Francophone and English representation.
Great to see more drive-in concerts. First-time filmmaker Len Morissette from Mistawahis ni Hiawak lost the connection to his culture and family years ago because he was raised in the city away from his community. But he recently wrote and directed a short film about that loss and will be making its way to New York. Lost has already won Morissette 2 awards at the Best Shorts competition and the First Nations Film and Video Festival in Chicago. And the filmmaker is getting international recognition. Morissette hopes to turn the short film into a feature once he can secure funding. Lost will be shown next week at the New York City Liftoff Film Festival.
It was just accepted into the New York Liftoff Film Festival. So it was just accepted into the New York Liftoff Film Festival. And that festival has been going on for about 10 years now in New York, and it's worked through a whole chain of festivals that are across the U.S. and the U.K.
Congrats to him. That is your APTN National News for this Monday. For much more, visit our website, aptnnews.ca, and download the APTN News app. I'm Dennis Ward. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you back here tomorrow.